let's look at this Epstein bombshell, guys, because this one's big, dude. This shit is big, boss. Look at that picture, dude. This is the Ivory Coast, Côte d'Ivoire, next to Ghana. It's a pretty small African country right there. I think this is a big deal, guys, because what we're about to see is a definite connection of Epstein, Israel surveillance. And now this is around the same time that there were emails with Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and Jeffrey Epstein. And Epstein was trying to get Elon to the island. And, you know, Thiel's taking meetings and Ehud Barak is going to the island. But it says new leaked emails show that Jeffrey Epstein helped arrange talks between the Israeli government and Côte d'Ivoire that culminated in the signing of a formal defense agreement in 2014. Epstein made introductions and held meetings between Côte d'Ivoirian leaders and Israeli intelligence-linked firms and individuals that helped lay the groundwork for the deal that helped flood Côte d'Ivoire with Israeli surveillance tech. This is the latest entry in a series of stories about Epstein's links to the intelligence world, including in Africa. So think about that, guys. Think about this. You have an American who was a fucking school teacher, okay? He was a math teacher who then went on to work at Bear Stearns, who then was like a tax guy for wealthy people, who then went on to, you know, arrange the craziest like child sex trafficking ring ever. And then this guy is like the go-between between an African government and Israel intelligence firms. Hello, right? Why is some random guy, Donald Trump's buddy, who owns a modeling agency in Florida, why is that guy the go-between between Côte d'Ivoire and Israeli surveillance firms? Right? I mean, you know what I mean? That's pretty random. That is pretty fucking random. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And dude, if you look at it, look at this photograph. Dude, this is Epstein with African soldiers. Look at him. He's out there just fucking hanging out. Okay? And this is really bizarre, dude. Jeffrey Epstein helped Israel sell a surveillance state to Côte d'Ivoire. Leaked emails show the details behind talks between Côte d'Ivoire and Israel shepherded by Ehud Barak and Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein and Ehud Barak were specialists in war profiteering. At the end of his tenure as Israel's defense minister and after his supposed retirement, Barak embraced a role as a salesman of Israeli security service to embattled governments, opening the door for Israeli intelligence leaders to shape the security apparatuses of several African nations, including the country of Côte d'Ivoire. Quietly facilitating these efforts was Jeffrey Epstein. New details about Epstein's role in Israeli intelligence operations in Africa have emerged from two sets of documents. An archive of leaked emails released by the Handala hacking group and hosted by nonprofit whistleblower site Distributed Denial of Secrets, and documents released by U.S. House Oversight Committee last month. The latter set from the Oversight Committee includes Epstein's personal emails and appointment calendars, which provide clear evidence of Epstein's involvement in Israel's West African security negotiations in 2012, while Barak was still Israel's defense minister. This is so bizarre because Epstein is like, it's not random, guys. It just doesn't make any sense. This is a couple years after his, sex trafficking bust. So you have Epstein, he's got a modeling agency, he's a sex trafficker, he gets out of jail, he's Donald Trump's good friend, and all of a sudden he's the guy, the go-between between a war-torn West African country and the Israeli prime minister. As in Mongolia, Epstein and Barak's private deal-making evolved seamlessly into an official security agreement between Israel and Côte d'Ivoire in 2014. Since the agreement was signed over a decade ago, President 𝗙𝗚𝗽𝗍𝗯 has tightened his grip on power, banning public demonstrations and arresting peaceful protesters, which means essentially this tech that they sold has been used for like no good ever since, too. It's been used to create an authoritarian state, okay? It's fucking brutal. And in this October's election, the octogenarian won a fourth term in defiance of constitutional term limits, while opposition candidates were barred from participation. Jesus. You see that? The guy's 80 years old, and he's breaking their constitution to take a fourth term because anybody who opposes him is barred. I mean, that sounds like something Trump wants. Dude, that's crazy. I mean, when you think about it, that in addition to Israel being occupiers in Gaza and the West Bank, and they've been, oppressive in the Middle East, and it turns out that their surveillance shit is being sold to people that are also occupying and being oppressive. It's just like every extension of the Israeli war machine is like not above board, dude. It's all about oppression and control. A rebel government in Côte d'Ivoire builds a police state there where they surveil and basically prevent any opposition from running for elections. This guy's 80 years old, his fourth term, he's broken the Constitution. It's complete authoritarianism there that's being carried out as a result of Israeli surveillance that they're using to crush the opposition. And all of that was set up by fucking Jeffrey Epstein, by a dude who gets massages from trailer park girls in West Palm Beach, Florida. That's just weird, guys. That's weird that some, schmoozy little billionaire tax guy from West Palm Beach is setting up a police state in fucking Western Africa. That feels level jumping, doesn't it? What do you do? Oh, I'm a tax guy. I get massages from these local girls, and I set up, Israeli surveillance in West African nations. Like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of a resume is that? I mean, yes, it is an argument for like, this guy's way above his pay grade, okay? If you are just run a modeling agency in Florida and you're setting up Israeli surveillance with the government of a West African nation, that's not in your wheelhouse, bro, okay? A modeling, like John Casablancas from Elite Models isn't going to be setting up some deal with fucking, surveillance equipment in fucking Nigeria, I mean, he was way out of his pay grade, guys. In 2010, a disputed presidential election in the West African nation of Côte d'Ivoire triggered political upheaval and violence that rapidly destabilized the country. The UN certified Alassane Ouattara as the winner of a November 2010 runoff vote, but the outcome was not accepted by the rival incumbent Laurent Gbagbo. After months of violence, a French and UN military intervention was launched in April 2011 to remove Gbagbo and drive him from the country. After Gbagbo's exile, Ouattara inherited a security apparatus fractured by the crisis, and his own hold on power was uncertain. The new president announced his government had foiled a coup plot against him by officers still loyal to Gbagbo in June 2012. 5 days after the announcement, the new Ivorian president, who had a long career in economics at the IMF and a reputation as a technocrat, that's always bad news, traveled to Jerusalem to meet Defense Minister Ehud Barak and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and discuss cooperation on science, tech, and counterterrorism. The following month, an Israeli delegation visited Côte d'Ivoire to field Ouattara's questions about Israel's security apparatus and rebuilding the Ivorian presidential army. While Israeli and Ivorian officials sat in hotel conference rooms and took press photographs, American financier Jeffrey Epstein was across the globe engaged in shadow diplomacy to develop further ties between Israel and the new Ivorian leader. On June 18, 2012, the very same day Barak was meeting with Alassane Ouattara in Jerusalem, According to Epstein schedules released by the House Oversight Committee, his son, David Jermaine Ouattara, was in New York for an appointment with Epstein. Dude, that's weird. On September 12th, 3 months later, Epstein met with Ouattara's niece, Nina Keita, whom he had known since 2002, a young fashion model in Jean-Luc Brunel's Karen modeling agency. She had traveled on his Lolita Express plane between New York and Paris. After Keita's visit, records show Epstein went straight to the Regency Hotel in New York for a private meeting with Israel's defense minister. The next month, Epstein flew to Africa. In a note to his assistant, he instructed her to arrange to switch planes in London before flying to Côte d'Ivoire, Angola, and Senegal. There are no flight logs documenting the African trip. So then he switched planes so he could fly around out over there with no records, dude. That is so dirty, bro. That is so dirty. This is in 2012, okay? This is 2012. So this is after he was busted, after he had gotten out of prison, right? This is nuts, bro. Barak has previously claimed his private investments with Epstein were conducted as a private citizen and unrelated to official Israeli state affairs. The documents released by the House in October, however, suggest Epstein played the same fixer role while Barak was still the sitting defense minister of Israel. Barak did not respond to a request for comment. See, that's what's really weird, guys, okay, is if Epstein was like friends with Ehud Barak, and Ehud Barak is like trying to make a deal with some of his buddies that sell surveillance shit, and Epstein is like negotiating a deal for his friend because he's whatever, a good negotiator. That would be, I mean, it'd still be weird. Like, why is Epstein doing the negotiations? But it would at least make sense because it is, you know, it is a guy and his friend engaging in some of his friend's business. But like when Ehud Barak was the defense minister of Israel and Netanyahu's the prime minister of Israel, they should only be negotiating through government people, right? You're not going to have some random American dude doing your negotiations. You know what I mean? Like, imagine if we're negotiating with fucking Germany for something and we just grab some dude from Australia, right? Some fucking banker from Australia goes to negotiate the fucking deal in Germany, right? Dude, it is very bizarre, boss. This shit, like, again, Epstein was way level jumping, okay? He was like level jumping, dude. He was doing the work of a deeply ensconced high-level government official while getting hand jobs from like trailer park girls in Palm Beach. You know, that doesn't make any sense, dude. And, oh, dude, Ehud Barak is on the flight logs. He's been to the island. Like, Ehud Barak is the prime minister that Virginia Giuffre said she was SA'd by him. She was forced to, like, be his concubine multiple times. There's, like, a long history there. Dude, it's just a lot to process, boss. I feel like I'm reading, like, a romance novel for weaponry. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm reading a romance novel for like missiles and surveillance equipment, like a really bad, overly technical Bond fucking novel. So essentially what they did was they set up communications monitoring for the entire fucking country. Landlines, cell phones, tactical radios, walkie-talkies, internet, all of it. Okay, they're fucking recording all that information and creating a media database that they're then analyzing, which presumably with the rise of AI, now the AI is just doing this shit. And I mean, dude, they're probably doing that shit to us right now, right? Isn't that what they're planning on doing with this new Palantir shit? Your cell phone microphone is probably just feeding all of our shit endlessly, looking for us. Every time I talk about Trump and the pine box, dude, some guy's ears perk up and he's like, the guy in Oregon's talking about the pine box again. Dude, this shit is insane. So you have Epstein being besties with Ehud Barak, who is close with Netanyahu. They were in government together. He was his fucking defense minister. And then you have Netanyahu simultaneously being buddies with Charles Kushner, whose son-in-law is now married to the Trumps. Like, think about that, guys. Why does Netanyahu's good buddy's son marry Trump's fucking daughter? That just seems weird, okay? That Charles Kushner, his son marries Trump's daughter, and they're all connected to like Robert Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak. That's some weird shit, guys. But what has happened in the last 6 months with Donald Trump going from like, we're releasing the files, we got this, his whole administration is like, we're ready to do this. And then all of a sudden, it's a hoax. This doesn't even exist. The whole blow up, and now they're like trying to hold the government hostage, preventing 𝗙𝗪𝗃𝗍 from being sworn in. I mean, I have never seen a crazier about face and denial and attempt to like get away from this thing ever. You know, this is like, they're treating this more scandalous than Watergate. Everybody's just fleeing, okay? They're fleeing. And it's beyond just like a handful of government officials. It seems to be infecting like every level of power globally. You know, there is something big here that House members have seen the photos and the shit with Trump and the naked teen girls, and that it's worse than what Michael Wolff said, and that they have them. They have them, they've seen them, and it's going to come out. And then he went on to say that you know, once 𝗙𝗪𝗃𝗍𝗆 is in, that they're expecting a whole bunch of Republicans are going to vote to release this shit because they don't want to get buried by it, and they don't want to be responsible because they know it's coming out. And then he went on to say that Pam Bondi's denial by not answering White House's question about whether she saw these photos, she just went mute, remember? He's like, you don't know anything about that? She was just all silent. That they're like, holy shit, this shit is real. So the guys are like hearing the scuttlebutt that the photos are real, that it's definitely coming out. You better get ahead of this. So yeah, I think this shit is blowing up, bro. Dude, it's gonna get messy, bro. It is gonna get messy. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.